Welcome back to my channel. To my current subscribers, thank you very much. Thank you for your love. To everyone that has actually subscribed, new subscribers on my channel, thank you, thank you, thank you. For those that know me personally and have sent me messages, just encouraging me to push on, to say you guys really enjoyed the video. Thank you. And so if you are new, please tell your people to tell your people that Pastor Ayo is on YouTube. It's on YouTube. So I thought, let me not even waste any time. I feel like Elihu in these streets. I feel like my wineskins are about to burst with content in the space. So welcome, yo. Those that do not know me, Ayanda Ngobo is the name and surname, and here we talk all things faith, we talk all things life, we talk all things man, and we really just break it down and break the church walls, and we get as real as we possibly can. Because listen, yo, God ain't trying to change your personality, but he is working on your character. So today it's story time. It's story time. I want to really take you guys to a place in my life where I have never been so challenged. I have never felt like I was stripped so naked, you know. Yay, yay. Grab your cup. Grab your cup. So I want to talk about the time that I went to therapy. And those that do know me, I always say that I am a Christian that believes in therapy. And it took a long time for me, and it took a long time for other people as well, to actually understand that therapy is an intervention that anyone can actually afford themselves the opportunity to go to. Therapy is an intervention that has nothing to do with you being demon possessed. It has nothing to do with you failing in your faith journey. It does not replace the work that God is doing in your life. Yet it is an intervention for you to talk things out, etc. So I really, really do believe in it. But I had not gone to therapy prior to this moment of in my life. And so I remember watching something on a clip actually on Instagram, and someone said, if you need a fitness trainer for your fitness journey, why wouldn't you need a therapist just for a life journey? If you need extra classes, for example, a tutor while you're going to school, why wouldn't you seek a therapist just to assist you in your life's journey? So there are complexities in our lives that really, really need the exposure and the understanding that only a therapist can do. And so we found ourselves at that point in our lives where it was not about how much you prayed. It was not about how you can speak in tongues. It was not about if you could cast out devils or not. It was not about how you can preach and regurgitate scripture. It was not about how influential you are. It came to a point that when the person looked at themselves in the mirror, they realized, I need help. I need help, you know. And so that's what we did. We found a therapist, and I want to talk to you guys about what I learned that I could have never been prepared for. Therapy kicked my behind. All right, let's get to it. So after my first therapy session, I just went into details about where I come from, and how I believed I was able to give love, and how I believed I was able to really take care of people around me, whether it's my husband, my kids, etc., you know, my friends, how I relate to friends and stuff. And so my therapist was just quiet and listening, you know, and obviously everyone thinks that a great person. There I am, just painting this beautiful um this beautiful picture of who I am. Like, I am socially just, you know, people love me, you know. I'm a good friend, I try, you know, I'm a relatively okay partner, like, I'm trying. And so my therapist just listened and asked me one question, and he said to me, oh, Ayanda, tell me, if a friend of yours, let's say, was hospitalized and came out of hospital and asked you just not to see them. So I said, okay, I'll make contact with that friend and find out what is that they want, and I will try and support them the best way that I can. And he said, okay, I can see that, but if they said, okay, don't even contact me, and I said to them, then I'll actually really I'll respect the space that they are in, and probably just give them some time and continue to check now and again, and obviously ask that, and make sure that I'm not intrusive, you know. And he kept quiet and he nodded, and then out of the blue, out of the blue, he says to me, "Oh, Ayanda, where's home?" So I said, "Sorry." He said, "Where's home? Home, home, HOME. Where is it?" I remember, I remember being taken aback. I remember being taken aback by that question because I had not been home where I grew up for 18 years. 18 years. I had not gone back home. My mom had passed away, my grand had passed away. The memories that were there. I mean, I remember going back in 2002. And having a nervous breakdown. I literally suffered a nervous breakdown because everything I grew up around, my uncle, my mom, my grand, they had all passed away. And I remember just getting those memories. I could almost hear their voices, yet there was no one in the house. And so I packed my bags and I left, and I just continued with life. And I moved to first to my other aunt's place that didn't go too well, and then I moved to my aunt's place where I stayed until I got married. And so even there, I mean, and I'm not even meaning this in the worst way. Whenever you are brought into a family that is just, they've got their own rituals, they've got their own things. You don't come in and disrupt what is happening. You don't make your voice known, or heard rather. And so I had that and I didn't even know how deep it had actually settled and manifested in my life, and how it actually manifests in various things that I do, where you're constantly feeling like, I'm going to just keep quiet until I'm asked, or I'm just going to make my presence not felt as much as I possibly can because I don't want to intrude people's spaces. And I know that my family's probably going to watch this and think, "You crazy." It's not even things that people did intentionally. It's something that goes on into your mind when you are the cousin that stays with your cousin. You're almost like, "Oh, I don't want to just, retell anything. I'm just gonna just really, fade into the background, say as little as possible." Because at the end of the day, this thing that says, I'm being done a favor. I could be out in the streets and whatever. So it was something that I never thought would really manifest itself as deeply as it actually did. So where's home? I said, home is wherever I am. Home is wherever I am. So home is Johannesburg. Home, we're home right now because I'm here. And he just looked at me like a sucker. And he says, "Okay, And I remember just, it was a 3-hour therapy session. And I remember just being stuck on that. Where's home? Why could I not identify where home is? Why couldn't I identify with the place where I felt I belonged? I you know, it, I had to really, really sit with myself and start asking myself very, very difficult questions. And what I did last year, December, on the 27th, I took my kids to Ulundi on Mahligihligi. I took them to Ulundi after 16 to 17 years of not being home. And all of that happened because when my therapist asked me where home was, I realized that I've actually been running away. I've been running away. I've been running away from facing the reality that sits in my past. I've been running away, thinking that it's okay, I can create something new. I'm fine. Got married, had my little own family. We good. We starting new traditions. Yet you cannot start something new without first dealing with the old. I want to bring Jeremiah into the space. Is that okay? God says, "Jeremiah, I have called you and I've anointed you." That's great. Then he says to break down and to build up, to uproot and to overthrow. Meaning that you need at some point in your life to go back and break down and then build. You don't just build, right? And so that for me was such a big, big awakening because it really, really spoke to something that I had never paid attention to. It spoke to why I really don't like visiting people that have like their families together. You know, when someone says, "Oh, come meet my mom," and I'm just like, why? It spoke to a lot of things. It spoke to my inability to open up, and be vulnerable and all of those things. And I really, really had not before that had that area of my life highlighted as deeply as my therapist was able to highlight it. That was point number one. Point number two, the therapist says to me, and I think this one was something that I had always known, but as I keep on repeating, it was never illuminated the way that the therapist just illuminated the area of my life and brought it to my consciousness to say, "Girl, you need to deal with this." I'm talking about how I'm good, and I've always thought I'm a good lover. I've always thought I give fair love. I always thought that I know how to be there for people. I mean, I'm just like, I'm your ride or die. What are you talking about? I'm that girl. And I look at back. I look back rather at the way that I served my husband. Like if my husband wanted beef curry, for example, he would text me beef curry. There I am chopping beef curry. He would call the following day and say chicken curry with potato. No, like I used to get like a restaurant menu, like breakfast, lunch, dinner. That's how that's how specific he was, and I was like, I can do that. I used to serve him, give him everything that he wants. There would even be occasions where you find that I had made something else and he wants something else. Girl, I am there scraping that beef or something to make that chicken. So I thought I serve you. I love you, until my therapist said to me, Ayanda, I don't think you really are a great lover. And he said to me, you are a great caretaker. You are a great caretaker. And once again, it spoke to an area of my life that I had never wanted to really pay attention to. But obviously now it was really, really calling for my attention. So what had happened in my past is that I've always been the one that is very good at taking care of people at home. And unfortunately, we've had very sickly people at home that needed to be taken care of. The first person was my mom, even though I wasn't really, because I was very young, I wasn't really involved in like making her food or bathing her or whatever the case is. But there was an element of just taking care of her, making sure that her surrounding is great, And then in 2002, my gran suffered a stroke that completely paralyzed her left side, leaving her to be completely dependent on us. And I assumed that role. I am very, very good with that. Very good. Like my gran was a lady. Like my gran was a lady. She was up at 4 o'clock. The porridge was ready by 5 o'clock. The place was clean. My gran did not say she wanted to use a toilet. She would say she wants to use the lavatory, honey. My gran, La Lela, she taught us not to wear black pantyhose, but to wear what is this color? Something with a gray though, that just is a bit more classy than black, So that was my gran. And so when she suffered a stroke and she became completely dependent on us, I even made sure that I would wake up at 3:30 to make sure that she's still bathed at 4 o'clock, because that's just who she is. I didn't want her to feel like now that she is dependent on us, we're not taking her love for herself seriously. So making sure that everything is clean, she's bathed, she smells fresh. We would paint my grand's nails. We just make sure that she's always groomed. So if you want to know where I get it from, I get it from my granny. And so I was very good at that, very good at studying people's surroundings and ensuring that they are well taken care of. The last Then there was my uncle, and that is just another story for another day, but he was mentally disturbed, and we also assumed the role of taking care of him, making sure that he's got his medication and stuff. So there was a lot of caretaking happening in my life. Then lastly, my cousin, oh, my right, like, listen, my ride or die, she was diagnosed with cancer in 2008. And so by 2010, before she passed away, I was taking care of her, just collectively as a family. But also, I'm the girl that will make sure that you can eat on the floor and make sure that your surroundings are as clean as you want them to be, making sure that we understand exactly what she needs to take, making sure that she's going to her appointments, and when she comes back, we were able to ease the pain that she was going through as much as we can, whether it was prompting pillows. Like, I was that girl. Like, I will not sleep on you, I will take care of you. My therapist says to me, if you were a great lover, you would also be able to receive love. Ayanda, what is receiving love to you? Where are the cricket? I'm actually trying to find cricket sounds. And I then realized that, oh, right? Yeah. I realized that there are areas in my life when it comes to receiving that I was not able to do. I then started paying close attention to the way that I do friendships, to the way that I do relationships, to the way that I actually express what I like. And I look back now, and I really want to kick myself in the foot, because for the longest of time I prided myself on the ability of taking care of other people. Yet deeply, I mean, I might not even have said it out loud, I might not even have told anyone else, but deep inside my heart, there was a longing that someone would love me the way that I was able to love them. That I'm the kind of person that if I sit with you, I will really study your character. I will really cater to that. I will just, I'm involved, I'm there, and yet I wasn't able to receive that kind of love. And I look back now, and I don't know whether I wasn't able to receive it because I was not really articulating it and really just letting the people know around me that I like to be held. I like my hands to be held. I like watching movies. I like this and I like that, because we cannot, as bully guys, like as bully, and what that means is, like, we're not fortune tellers. We can't tell all these things. Some things just need to be communicated. And so after a couple of sessions of therapy, it was made so clear to me that I've spent a lot of time investing in my spiritual man. I had spent a lot of time making sure that in the midst of chaos, I know the right word, and I know the right scriptures, and I know how to tap into God's presence, and all of that was all great. Yet in all that journey, my soul, I had just left to wander and sort himself out and almost catch up with where I was in the spirit, until therapy showed me that there are areas in my life that I had to pay close attention to. There are areas in my life that I couldn't use the spiritual side as an antidote to fix them. There are areas in my life that I can no longer pray in tongues and, ignore and move on forward. There were areas in my life that needed me to shut everything down, to sit with myself once again, to look at myself in the mirror, to be uncomfortable all over again, to look at my childhood traumas, to look at how I'm currently being understood, and do I like what I'm putting out there, And so what therapy did for me, therapy showed me, like, I remember going back to God and said, God, you could have also just intervened in that room and covered the girl. Have I not been serving you for so many years? I was like, God, where were... it felt like God said, "Hey guys, okay, you can do this. I'll wait for you outside." I was like, "Where are you? Why have you forsaken me? It is me, God. It is, I'm the girl that people call when they have problems. What is going on?" I felt stripped. I felt completely naked in therapy. And I remember just then talking to my husband and catching up with him after a couple of our sessions, and I said to him, I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change how uncomfortable we feel after therapy. I wouldn't change how I the work that I had realized I needed to put back into myself. I said, okay, I've spent a lot of time serving other people. I've spent a lot of time being there for other people. Even then, I wouldn't change a thing. But now it's time for me to shut down and be there for Ayanda. Right? It's time for me to stand in my truth. It's time for me to understand my mess. Now, listen, I'm not saying that we will be completely healed. I'm not saying that we will always have it all together, have it on lockdown. But there are certain things that cannot be compensated by how much you serve other people. There are certain things that you cannot compensate on just because you are the girl that everyone can rely on. Yet deeply, when you go back and you're all alone, you still feel just as empty. And so therapy kicked my behind in a very big way. It showed me that I had to actually stop and go back. It meant me going back home physically for and I remember just being home and being so surprised at my reaction now, being at home after so many years with my kids, being able to say, so mommy used to sleep in this bed, and mommy used to go to this school, and mommy used to do this, and mommy used to do that, and my kids just really appreciating that side, that mom is no longer running anymore. She can open up her past without feeling that it's so much of a mess for me to let my kids in, and so it really shaped the way that I parent. I now parent more with more vulnerability than I try to be heroic. I now love with more vulnerability than I do try love being heroic. I now engage in relationships with more vulnerability than me just trying to be the hero. I am able to say I need help. I'm now able to say, can you come and give me a hug? I want to be held. I want my hand to be held. And so I started actually going back from that point and writing things down that I like. What do I like? So that I can be able to communicate that, do I like hiking, which I do. I love reading. I love perfume. I actually love spending time with myself. I love looking at sunset. I love taking night drives. I love other things. I love I love dining out. I love conversation. I love engaging. I love being listened to. And I realized I love attention, like not this attention where you are like put in a pedestal, like not that, like I want you to like listen, to check up, and so there's so many things that I had not really made known. I had not really made known. I assumed my caretaker role in places that was not even needed, in places that put so much of what I needed in jeopardy because I focused so much on everyone else and paid less attention to me. And I realized that I am my first priority. I am my first audience. I am my first church. I am the first person that I should lay hands on when I wake up in the morning. Before I say, Father, and bless so and so, Father, bless Ayanda. I learned that it is not, I shouldn't be ashamed with putting myself first, with taking care of myself and ensuring that I am good. And so now I actually have monthly check-ins, where I check in with myself. Where am I? What has actually encouraged me this week, what made me sad. I'm paying very close attention to my reactions. I'm paying very close attention to things that I respond to. I want to ask myself, did I react? Did I respond? And it's just a matter of just getting to know myself all over again. And that is the journey that I'm currently even am in now. And anyone who knows me knows that I will go in. I will really, really go in. When I'm intentional about building myself, I go in. I'm not going to chop change my well-being. I'm not going to chop change myself just overflowing in every area of my life, not just spiritually, but I want my soul to prosper. Does not God say, I will above all things that you may prosper, even as your soul prospers? God says, I don't mind you having the material, but when the material is starting to replace your wholeness, then I'm going to put a hold on some things and allow you to introspect and look within and find out why are you associating your happiness with things that you can buy. Shouldn't you be well within yourself? I will above all things that you may prosper, even as your soul prospers. So is your soul prospering? Are you a happy individual? Are you dealing with your traumas and your hurts? Some things you don't even need to be ashamed of. I realized that me accounting to my feelings, or being more accountable to how I feel and how I communicate, it doesn't take away anything from me. It doesn't really take away anything from me. I used to, it was my, oh, guys, I used to be so bad. I wouldn't even be able to ask for help, ask for money, I wasn't able to do that. I really was not able to do that. I just had this, I'm an independent, strong black woman type of thing, and it was not working. It was not working where God has called us to just fellowship with each other, where God has called us to be in certain relationships, and in those relationships, understand that we actually serving one another. And so that's actually what I wanted to talk about. And if any of you have any what is this, any comments, please do pop them in the comment section below, and let me know if you went to therapy. How did you find that as just a Christian? Yeah, a Christian. And I know that there are still just a lot of myths around seeking those type of interventions, that I really, really think that in the church we need to be bold about talking about them. There are pastors that are on antidepressants. There are pastors that actually on drugs. There are pastors that are consuming alcohol. They will preach to the world and come back and want a substance that will validate who they are. It is a mess out there. It is a mess in here. It is a mess everywhere. And the more we are shying away from exposing things that are not going well, or the more we shy away from talking about our hurts and our deep hurts, is the more we will stay there, and it will almost seem to the world like we are pretending God is not alive. God is so alive, but there are just certain things that he will not do if you don't take him there. Did he not say to Mary and Martha, where is Lazarus? Where did you bury him? No, I can go and locate the tomb myself, but I want you to take me where you buried Lazarus, because where you buried Lazarus, not only did you bury him physically, but you buried the hope. You buried the joy. You buried so many things with him, because the Bible says that they were waiting for Jesus to come. You buried your disappointment. He said, show me that place, because not only will I raise Lazarus from the tomb, but I will raise everything that you also had buried along with him. And so he says, show me. So even as I close off this recording, show God, show him. Show him. It's not that he was not there. It's because he can't help you when you're still using a lot of things as an antidote for that. Show him. Open it bare. Say, here it is, God. Here it is. And then you can start your journey moving forward. All right? Okay. Cool stuff. So I'm still going back to therapy. That is something that I will never, ever stop, especially because I will still be in a position moving forward in my life where I'm constantly giving in whichever capacity that God desires. And whenever you're in that position, and any position for that matter, whether it's at work, whether it's just with friends, whenever you're giving more than what you're receiving, or you are really, really sacrificing yourself and sacrificing so much of who you are just for you to pat yourself and validate yourself by how many scars and pain you can inflict on yourself, then that is not healthy. There's no badge of honor for that. There's no badge of honor for you dying in the midst of, and there's no badge of honor for you self-sacrificing yourself to the point that you have no life. He came that you may have life and that you may have it in abundance. Thank God for that. Your life then trickles out and other people get touched and other people can drink from your well, but you need to have that well yourself. So as I close off, prioritize yourself. As I close off, spend time with yourself. As I close off, look at the areas, allow therapy to really illuminate areas of your life that the Bible might not necessarily illuminate, that your spirituality might actually cover to your detriment. Spirituality, guys, I have realized that if you live there 24/7, 360 something days a year, spirituality will put you in a place where that's the only thing that you see and you live there. And the day you actually sit with yourself and you realize that it was your spirit man running forward and your soul is still stuck in the mess and the two don't really speak to one another, that's when people have breakdowns. That's when people then commit suicide. That's when a hopelessness really sits in and you feel like, oh my gosh, I've been a fraud. You're not a fraud. You just need to pay attention more to yourself. Prioritize yourself. God has great plans for you, but he still needs you to fulfill those plans, right? Okay, it's Pastor Ayo when therapy did a number on me, but we can only be better. I remember sitting with my husband and saying to him, we can actually only be better. When everything's exposed, when you feel uncomfortable, when you just like, you can only be better. You can only be better. So to our better selves, to our healed and healing selves, right? To better communication and us being able to express ourselves better, right? To us actually choosing things that work for us and denouncing things that don't work for us. For us just choosing ourselves over and over and over again. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And then I will be right back soon with another video that hopefully you will enjoy. From my heart to yours. Bye.